dollars and bring it straight to you, he has executed his duty perfectly. He has sent that message perfectly. And that makes that friend or that mailman as good as the friend in that sense, because they were able to send you that message, send you that money from your friend without any alteration. And in the same way, someone that is sharing Srila Prabhupada's mission while simultaneously serving in Srila Prabhupada's mission, this devotee can connect us to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada can connect us to Krishna through the disciplic chain. And this is why it's important we know who to approach. Who do we approach? We need to approach Srila Prabhupada. But we need to approach Srila Prabhupada through his sincere devotees. This is how I've taken to the path. Through the guidance of Dwight Prabhupada and Shraddhanjali Mataji. Devotees who have made Srila Prabhupada's mission their life's purpose. And realistically, this is Shiksha. Shiksha points us in the right direction. Dhruva Maharaj is actually a perfect example of this. He is a perfect example of how important Shiksha is. Ultimately, Dhruva Maharaj achieved Vishnu in his heart, through the austerities that he performed thanks to his Diksha Guru. Who was his Diksha Guru? Diksha.
His mother.
No. That's the Shiksha Guru. We're going to talk about his mother later. Narada Muni, yes. His Diksha Guru, his initiating guru was Narada Muni. Narada Muni initiated him into the yogic practice, taught him all of what he needed to know to pursue the yoga process properly. But how did he come to find and meet Narada Muni?
Through Shiksha Guru.
Yes, and who is his Shiksha Guru?
Mother.
Yes, his mother, Suniti. His sweet mom. Dhruva Maharaj came up to his mom. He was so upset for reasons we won't talk about right now. Why he's on his dad's lap, this and that, inherit kingdom. And he was infuriated. All that he wanted a kingdom better than his dad's. He wanted a kingdom that even surpassed Brahma's kingdom. And his sweet mother, the Vaishnava she told him, well, if you want that, you should worship Vishnu. And then she pointed him towards the forest. All the great personalities that try to find Vishnu, they go into the forest. And Dhruva Maharaj, at the ripe age of 5 years old, it's a great age to start yoga. He went into the forest, followed his mother's instruction, and that's where he came across his Diksha Guru. He only found and came across Narada Muni because he followed his mother's instruction. He only found his Diksha Guru because he followed the instructions of his Shiksha Guru. And this is further explained in chapter 4, verse 12, verse 32. Canto 4, chapter 12, verse 32 of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shiksha and Diksha are non-different. The duty of both is to instruct the disciple properly. And it's up to the disciple to do their part and execute the process. In case we're still having a little bit of trouble as Shiksha and Diksha, one way to think about it, an example given is of a boat. You can think of a boat, or you can think of a plane, functions the same. But let's say you get to the airport. We'll stick with planes. Most of us have ridden on a plane. I've never ridden on a boat. So we get to the airport. You go to the ticket counter. And to the ticket counter. Oh, I want to go to Goloka. Can I get one ticket to Goloka Vrindavan? Well, ticket counter. They'll say, oh yeah, perfect. Here, let me just get your information. Let me get you the ticket. And you're going to be at gate 13. It's right down that way. Here, I'll take you with me. This ticket counter, they will give you the ticket that you need, and they'll also take you to the proper gateway, to the proper plane, so you can board the right plane to get to your destination. Shiksha brings you to the plane, brings you to the ship that you need to board. And then after you board that ship, your Diksha is the captain. And your Diksha is the one that flies the plane or drives the ship to the destination. And in this way, both are equally as important in getting you to your destination. Without the ticket counter, without the ticket lady, you don't know what ship you're boarding. You don't know what plane you're boarding. You're going to try to board a plane for India and then end up in Russia. But similarly, the captain is important, because if there's no one manning the ship, flying the plane, you're not going to get anywhere. And in this way, Shiksha and Diksha, the one that brings you to the ship, brings you to the plane, and the one that actually flies the plane, drives the ship, are non-different, because both are equally important in bringing you to your destination. So, again, Diksha and Shiksha, they're non-different. One of them instructs you and ultimately leads you to your Diksha Guru. In some instances, actually, it talks about it in purple here, your Shiksha Guru becomes your Diksha Guru. Not always, but either way. Shiksha brings you to Diksha. And in this way, Shiksha is the real beginning of your spiritual life. So now the way that Shiksha actually guides us, I'll just have this here in the background. The way that Shiksha guides us is by two things. By showing us the do's and the do-nots. Srila Prabhupada usually calls them the donuts. The do's and the donuts. You know, the do's are very good for us, but they're not always so palatable. You know we should wake up early. It's just so hard, you know. My bed is so comfortable. But then the donuts taste so good, especially on a Kaddishi. But we know that if it's a Kaddishi, definitely no donuts for us. But either way, the do's, very hard, very good for us. The donuts, very easy. So delicious. But terrible for us. No donuts for us. Especially not today. So, with this, talked about the do's, we talked about the donuts. I just want to get everyone's idea to make sure we understand the difference between the do's and the don'ts. So first, what are examples of things that are good for us? Just raise your hand, someone. We should know something. What's good for us?
Chanting 16 rounds.
Oh, chanting 16 rounds. Chanting at all.
Chanting period.
Chanting period.
Best thing you can do.
Jai, Haribo. Chanting, we know it's good for us. What else? Yes.
I was going to say exercising. But that's
Exercising. One of the hardest things to do, but one of the best things we can do for ourselves. Yes. Studying? Is that a question? So what's your answer then? Studying. We know we should study, but it's so easy to procrastinate. It's so easy to just, the test is next week. Oh, the test is in 5 days. Oh, the test is in 5 minutes. It's so easy to procrastinate, but we know that we should study well before it's time for the actual exam. Anything else that's good for us? There's so many things that are good for us. Okay, Marcia, yes.
Eating healthy?
Eating healthy. Healthy-ish. As long as it's prashadam. But yeah, taking care of our bodies. Because even sannyasis, when they get older, they get to that advanced age. Yes, they only have prashadam, but they also don't have all the prashadam. They mind their health, and they take whatever they need so that they can continue to serve. So now, it seems like the dude is kind of hard to pull out because they're pulling out teeth. So now, this one should be a little bit easier. Some donuts. So what are some donuts? Some things that we know we shouldn't do, but sometimes we do anyways, yes?
Overeating.
Overeating. Oh. Even if it is prasadam, there is a such thing as too much of anything. Anything else? Oversleeping. Oh, that's one of the easiest things to do. You know, you say, I'm only going to take a 30-minute nap. And then it turns into a 12-hour hibernation. Yes, Mataji, yes. No lying. That's a little gray area. I know she'll probably give the example of a cow. Let's say there's a cow running down the street. You saw the cow take a right, And then some people with pitchforks come by and they say, "Where's that cow? We're gonna cook it and eat it." Oh, I think he went that way, to the left. Yeah, he went that way. Go ahead, guys. But yes, there are certain things that we shouldn't lie about, especially to ourselves. The one person you should never lie to is your guru and yourself. So, anything else? Any other donuts? There's plenty of donuts. Yes, Prabhu? Prajalpa. When you should be doing japa, but something else comes out. A little bit of that gossip. If, for those of you that don't know, let's say you're trying to do something productive, but then you start talking about, "Oh my gosh, you see how that girl looked at me the other day? I can't stand her. Honestly, I don't even know why she comes here." That's an example of Prajapa. Especially talking about all other devotees. Now, it's not good to gossip about anyone or anything. Yeah, we have better things to do, but especially about Vaishnavas. One of the biggest offenses you can make, Vaishnava aparat, that's a big no-no. If you want to end your spiritual life, just start talking trash about the people here. So let's get one more donut. Yes.
Watching too much TV.
Finally. See, I feel like everyone wants to say it, but no one actually wanted to say it. Whether it's TV, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Instagram, whether it's sports. Watching too much of all of that nonsense. Screen? Oh no. It's back. So, the do's and the don'ts. Up here, this is called snakes and ladders. Some of us might be familiar. Some of us might not be familiar. I did a little bit of research, and interestingly,
Lila.
Oh, is that what some people call it?
The original game that was played by Vedic knowledge was called Lila.
Well, he took it out of my mouth because what historians suggest is that this originated in India, in ancient India.
I just played it yesterday for the first time, and I got it at a thrift store for $1.
Oh, so you should be ready for this then. Perfect.
And I'm like, what is Lila doing
The
there?
reason that this game was played was actually for children. It was to teach young children the do's and the donuts, the virtues that we should follow, and the vices that we should avoid. And naturally, what here represents good virtues? The ladders, yeah. Ladders bring you up. And now talking about guru showing you up and downs,
They were actually
what represents the downs here? The snakes. So very simple. Ladders bring you up, snakes bring you down. So,
They were arrows. In
They were arrows?
The original game, they were arrows shooting up, and there were snakes that we went down. But they're arrows, not ladders.
so then regardless, let's say arrows or ladders, whatever you want to see, You choose your vision. Your darshan.
True.
Let's start with number 4. What's he doing? Studying what? Srila Prabhupada's books. That's what he's studying. He's studying Srila Prabhupada's books. And what happens when you study Srila Prabhupada's books? You become learned. You become versed. Properly versed in Shastra. And now let's go here. Whoa. What's he doing? That's an interesting looking dog. But he's harming living entities. Harming other living entities. And what happens when you harm other living entities? You go down to where? Canto 5. I think chapter 26. 526. What happens? The hellish planets. You get pulled all the way down. And it's not a good time. It's not a good time. But notice, it's very easy to just go for your urges. You have an urge to do something. It's like an itch. You have an itch, you just want to scratch it. You just want to scratch it. Srila Prabhupada talks about the skin disease. And what's the skin disease? The skin disease is that every time there's an itch, you just scratch, and then there's another itch, and you scratch, and every time you scratch that itch, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And now, let's go to another one. Oh. How about this one right here? What happens with number 93? What's she doing?
Making a mess.
Wasting
She's-
prasadam.
Say that again.
Wasting prasadam.
She's wasting prasadam. Dumping prasadam on the floor. Oh, Krishna. And you know what happens when you dump prasadam on the floor? You have to do extra studying and understand why you shouldn't do that. So notice, everything has consequences. Everything has consequences. Oh, here's another one. Right here, here's another snake. You're going up, you're messing with some more living entities. And then what happens? Those same living entities come back and harm you. That's actually the hell that you go to, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So, it's interesting. But now let's talk about the ladders. Now, 36. What is happening with number 36?
Listening to her parents?
She's listening to her parents because she did something wrong. And whenever we do something wrong, our guru is going to chastise us. They're going to set us right. And if you take it the right way, our guru is also very loving. And our guru is going to help us get back on the right path. But anyways, that's enough of this. Again, these are the snakes and the ladders, the do's and the don'ts. And it's very easy to grab onto the snakes. You know, it's just one quick whoop and straight down. When it comes to the ladders, you have to put a lot of effort to climb up the ladder. Has anybody climbed up the ladder before? Some of us have. It's a lot easier going down than up. One way or another. So, these lessons are important. And without guidance, you don't know if you're grabbing a snake or a ladder. And that's why this was so important for the children. Because, especially at such a young age, kids need that kind of guidance. If they don't have that kind of guidance, then they decide what are snakes and what are ladders. And if you let anyone decide that on their own, they're going to end up making such terrible mistakes. Terrible mistakes. Guidance is important. And it's like visiting a country. You know, here's another way of thinking about it. You never want to go somewhere foreign alone. Whether it's India, whether it's Canada, whether it's Bolivia, you don't want to go alone because you don't know the snakes, you don't know the ladders. You don't know where the danger is, you don't know where it's okay to be. And I heard that's especially true in India. So we have a guide to guide us. We start going somewhere, no, probably, no, go that way. We don't go that way. That's not safe. We start talking to the monkeys, hey, stop talking to the monkeys. If you keep associating with them, I'm gonna have to deal with them. So, in this way, guidance is important. In our spiritual life is no different. Our Shiksha guides us towards the do's, the ladders, and keeps us away from the don'ts, the donuts, the snakes. These snakes and ladders are identified in the Nectar of Instruction. And we're going to start with Nectar of Instruction, text 2. These, well actually, you know what? We'll read it first, and I'll ask you if these are do's or donuts. Jai Shri Krishna Govinda Ki. Anybody have the mic? Right here? Oh, thank you, Prabhu. I don't think I've heard you read yet.
What?
You're going to read, Prabhu.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities: eating more than necessary, or collecting more funds than required, over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain, taking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically, associating with worldly mindedly persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness and being greedy for their mundane achievements.
Thank you, Prabhu. So, I just want you to yell it out. Do's or donuts?
Donuts.
These are donuts. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. So again, these are 6 donuts that our Shiksha Guru is going to help us identify and stay away from. Someone already said the first one. Eating more than necessary. Collecting more funds than required. Over endeavoring for mundane things that are difficult to obtain. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And finally, being greedy for mundane achievements. Now you might be thinking, why are these donuts? Why is over endeavoring for something so bad? Why shouldn't I collect as much money as possible? And one of the things I love about Srila Prabhupada as an author is how concise he is. Because he really gives us an answer in the very first sentence. Can we get the mic to the Matajis now? Whatever Mataji grabs the mic. Oh, you know what? I haven't heard you read yet. Yeah. Keep going, right there. Jai, thank you, Mataji. Just the first sentence. Just read the first sentence.
Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking.
Human life is meant for what? Plain living and high thinking. Just with that first sentence alone, we understand the donuts. Why should we not eat these donuts? Well, very simply, because with every donut you eat, instead of plain living and high thinking, you start living complexly and you start thinking simply. So now what does that mean? Complex living and simple thinking. This is the opposite. This is what we do not want.
Do high living
That's
and
a
plain
donut.
thinking.
So, complex living. How complex is your life right now? Just think about it. You might have a job, have a family, you might have mortgages to pay, you have a car you have to maintain, especially if every other week it's breaking down for some other reason.
You might have 2 different chemistry exams this week.
You have 2 different chemistry exams that you have to study for. You might have friends that you have to associate with for work reasons, Halloween Horror Nights. Not saying anything. But all of these complexities in life, all these things are occupying us all the time. But then what happens when we get home? After all this complex living, all these nuances in our life, we get home and then we start doing this. Or we start doing this. Start going on our phone, going through social media, all these different things. We start going on Netflix. Or, this is one of the worst things. We get home and then we
Sleep.
Oh, see, We sleep for how long? How long do we sleep for? Too long? Definitely too long. Sometimes we'll be so tired, we'll go to sleep at 10, we'll wake up at 10. 10 to 10. And in this way, all of these things up here are making our lives more complex than they need to be. And all these complexities is just causing us to lower our thinking faculties. When your focus and your attention is on all these unnecessary things, you can't think about what's important. So, talking about eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. Why might that be an issue? And again, on the topic of living complexly and thinking simply. Yes, Prabhu?
Because if you're collecting too many funds and you're too worried about money, and then it's like if you read Krishna book, when they're talking about Nanda Maharaj and how he gives like all the cows right during Krishna's birth ceremony, right? He says that money is like not pure, so it has to be purified. So it has to be purified in a certain way. So it's like if you're not able to do that, and then you're just collecting funds for the sake of collecting funds, now you're just bringing on all this bad karma.
And a good example of that is Scrooge. I don't know how familiar anyone is here with like the duck. I guess, yes. The duck or the human that the duck is based on. Either way, yes, Scrooge. I don't remember his first name. Like
Ebenezer.
Ebenezer. That's a mouthful. Scrooge. So, but Scrooge McDuck, I was calling Scrooge McDuck, it's easier for me. He was always so worried about collecting money. He didn't do anything else but collect money. And you know what the only thing that's on his mind is? Money. The only thing he thinks about is money. He has all this money. He doesn't even do anything with it. He just likes to have it. And all that, the complexity of earning money just for the simple thought of money. The only thing going through his mind, money. All day long is just money. And that's just one example of how just that first one, collecting more than you need. You collect all this nonsense, and that nonsense is the only thing on your mind. Whether it's money, or whether you're eating too much food, food. Donuts. But notice, it absorbs your mind. So let's go to the second one. Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Any thoughts, any examples? I give you an example right now. Let's think about the Olympics. The Olympics, that is a very high level, very difficult level to achieve by anyone. Even those that train their entire lives for the Olympics, oftentimes they also fail. And now why might that be an issue? Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. Any thoughts?
You spend your whole time trying to achieve that thing, and you may never achieve it, but you're still going to spend all that time. And it's going to consume your entire life.
It consumes your life, it consumes your mind. And even if you get there and you don't win, it's very sad. A lot of these Olympics, especially in the Eastern world, like China, Japan, when they make that their entire life, a lot of them that don't achieve the success they were expected to achieve end up making a very negative, drastic decision. I hope us that are older understand what I'm saying, but that way I don't have to say it out loud. But notice, again, you spend your whole life trying to be an Olympian, and that's the only thing in your mind. Even when you fail, the only thing you think about is, I should have tried harder. I should have done this. I should have done that. I should have done this and that to be an Olympian. I could have still, and then that's how they leave their body, with regret. And that's really what it comes down to. We end up living so hard trying to become famous, maybe trying to start up a big company. Whatever it is we're trying to do that's so difficult to achieve, all we are finished with is regret. Let's go to number 3. Talking unnecessarily about mundane subject matters. Now, why might that be an issue? No one? No.
Because of the false ego.
Okay, well, I don't know what that means, probably. Please elaborate.
Maybe sometimes we get hurt by the people who are interacting on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Keshav, I see you doing all
We try to
this.
say to somebody else, like,
What do you want to say, Keshav? Yes.
Something my dad's verdict says is that where attention goes, energy flows. And so the more we're placing our attention on the faults of other people, the more we're contemplating that, the more we're concerned about our finding faults in other people. And it becomes more of a feedback loop.
I'll give you that's perfect, Carl. That's perfect. I'll give you an example. Again, complex living, simple thinking. Whenever anyone starts talking politics always ends up in the same place. You either agree and feed back into itself, or you disagree and bicker and fight. And that's just one example. You're so focused on the politics of these different things. And it might not even be the politics of this country. Let's say the politics of like soccer or football. When you start looking at the game, start watching football, the only thing you see is, oh, he's got some beef with that guy. Oh, I see the way that he's playing. He doesn't like his coach. His coach is yelling at him. He's not having a good time. Same thing when you're looking at this country and all you see is the politics of this country. All you start seeing is just Democrats and Republicans everywhere. And when you only see Democrats and Republicans everywhere, all you see is friends and enemies. That's not the way life is meant to be lived. That's too simple. Life is not meant to be looked at that simply. So when you talk unnecessarily about things that are mundane, things that don't matter that much, it affects the way you think. Very simply. So if you want to think higher, you need to talk about things that are more important. Like what? What's more important? Krishna consciousness. Okay. Give some example. What's more important than the weather yesterday? Everybody loves talking about the weather. Oh, how was the weather? Oh, it was so hot. I know. I don't know how you were able to walk outside. So what can we talk about instead of that?
Services.
Okay.
What can be done?
Give me an example.
Like, instead of let's say I come and let's say talk to someone here. First I would ask what the services here can be performed so that I can engage myself directly.
We have some trash that has to get picked up outside. Garbage pick up outside. Are you okay to do it? I know it's a little hot outside, but... Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. I'll get you back when we finish. Anyone else? Something that's better to talk about than, let's say, how the cricket match is going to go next week.
It's going today.
Oh, it's today? Okay, Prabhu, please. The cricket match is going today. Instead of talking about that, what can we talk about instead?
We should talk about Srila Prabhupada's purpose.
Specific.
I know a nectar of destruction.
Specific.
Second was about how not to talk about cricket.
Okay, I'll accept that. Instead of talking about cricket, we should talk about what Srila Prabhupada says that we shouldn't talk about cricket. We'll take one more. Yes, Prabhu.
When you talk to somebody, talk about them. Ask them about them.
Oh, you know what? Actually, because that goes into, I believe, verse 4. Loving exchanges with devotees, the people around you, the people that you care about. Inquiring about them so that they can confide in you and reveal their mind. That's not the topic for today, but thank you, Prabhu. So, we're getting there. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. That's a lot. That's a lot to take in. So let's break it down. Let's start with the first one. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them. Now, what that talks about specifically is a word called ritual. So, rituals. Because a lot of people might come through the door, see us doing puja, see us paying obeisance, see us chanting, and they might ask, oh, why are you doing all those rituals? Well, they're not rituals. One way to think about it, one way that I've heard explained is the difference between ritual and spiritual. Spiritual is when you put your spirit in ritual.
When you add SPI
And that's
to ritual.
one way of understanding it. But how can you put your spiritual into the ritual? How can you really put your heart into it, your spirit into it, so that you're not just doing some random hand motions, so that you're doing something substantial? And that comes with SPI. Does anybody remember this? We talked about this in class before. SPI. I see some hands. I know you guys remember. Do you remember? Okay. Okay, you remember, Prabhu. I haven't heard you talk yet. Perfect, thank you. So where's the mic? Pass the mic there. I want to hear it clearly. So SPI.
Srila Prabhupada instructions.
Is that a question? See, with confidence, Prabhu, please. I want to feel it.
Srila Prabhupada instructions.
Yes! Guys, Srila Prabhupada's instructions. SPI. Srila Prabhupada's instruction. When we follow his instruction genuinely, when we are endeavoring to follow through in that shiksha, in that guidance, that is how we turn the ritual, this ritualistic hand motion, into something spiritual, into something that matters. And again, this comes back to our instruction, to our shiksha. Because without shiksha, without instruction, everything that we're doing is just ritual. But once you add the instruction, once you add the guidance, that transforms the ritual into something powerful. It transforms it into something spiritual. It transforms it into something that matters. So that's the first part. Practicing the scriptural rules just for following them. Just doing rituals. That's a donut. Now rituals, donuts taste pretty good on their own, you know, especially when you can put it on Instagram. Oh my gosh, look at me. It's your Prabhupada's Parents' Day. Oh gosh.
You guys both together, you put the SPI and the ritual, you got spiritual.
You got spiritual.
You turn that donut
And
into
that's
prashadam and it's
only
pretty good.
through instruction. That's only through shiksha. And that's the importance of guidance. So now the second half of this, where was it? Rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. Whimsically. In whim. Now what does that mean? Srila Prabhupada talks about it in the Bhagavad Gita. When you do something whimsically, you're doing it on your own. And what did we talk about doing things on our own? What did Srila Prabhupada say about doing things on your own? This path is undoubtedly difficult. If you try to go this path alone, it is not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Everything that we do, we always need to make sure that we're not doing it off our own accord. Even reading the scriptures, you don't want to try to interpret the scriptures yourself. I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I'm not built like that. I'm not smart enough for that. I look at the scripture, and whatever I might take out of it, I need to cross-reference with my shiksha, with my diksha, with Srila Prabhupada's books as preeminent shiksha guru. We should never try to do it alone, because doing it alone will bring us where?
Snakes. Down.
Snakes. So, practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them, rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures, and working independently or whimsically. So now we're on to number 5. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. I know this is one that we've talked about a lot in previous classes and such. So can someone explain why that might be an issue? Again, if you're not sure, complex living, simple thinking. So how can this cause complexities in our life and simplicity in our thoughts? I see the same hands coming up. I want to see some new hands. Thank you, Prabhu. Semi-new.
Oh, probably is the mic.
Okay, so okay. So when we associate with the worldly-minded persons, basically we tend to attract to the material world and the desires, and basically it impacts our spiritual life. Our mind will change. Maybe they'll talk about something, some new model of car, and we'll also think, okay, should I look for that? I'm just giving an example, but overall it hampers our spiritual life.
And actually, I should backtrack. Worldly-minded persons versus spiritually-minded persons. Because we should associate with spiritually-minded persons. So the difference between the two. A worldly-minded person is very much stuck to this here and now, this world. I gotta make sure that I'm doing a good job at my work so I can get that promotion. Oh, my colleagues are going out for drinks. I gotta make sure I join them. I gotta make sure I join them so I can stay up to date with gossip and this and that. Worldly, focusing only on what is happening in the world. Now, some of us have jobs. Some of us need to maintain relationships. But there's a difference between taking association and giving association. So right now what we're talking about here is taking association. Like even when the devotees go out to preach, you have to talk to worldly-minded persons. But the difference is that the devotees are giving association. They're not taking association. So when it's talking about associating with worldly-minded persons, it's talking about taking the association of worldly-minded persons. Which again, when we take that association, it affects the way we think, it affects the way we live. Let's talk about complex living first. Let's say you have a family member or a friend or something that's always getting into trouble. You know, for whatever reason, they're kind of a rascal, they're always doing this and that, always causing problems to other people. If you're associating with that person, their problems become your problems. Very simple, very simple. So talking about complex living. If you associate with worldly minded people, it's going to make your life a lot more complex. You know, because when you're focused in the world just has a bunch of problems in it. There's problems everywhere you go. You're always going to have a problem with someone. But now, spiritually minded people. Because again, we're talking about taking the association now. How can we take the association of spiritually minded people? Actually, what is a spiritually minded person in the first place? Who is a spiritual person? Yes.
I guess someone who encourages you in your spiritual life. Like if you take, like by taking in the association of spiritual mind, like with a spiritual person, like they'll kind of help you. Do not do these things. Like do not do these donuts here. So like for example, like if you're hanging out with like somebody who's more spiritually minded and they see you have this like humongous plate of prasadam and they see you going in for your third plate of it, they'll be like, hey Prabhu, we have to do cleaning afterwards, you might get tired, maybe you want to hold off a bit. Like they'll be concerned for your health, or they'll kind of encourage you, like teach you how to like start engaging in more Krishna Katha or like Krishna conscious talks, because they do it themselves, and so they just kind of like transfer that good vibes to you because they kind of like just lead by example.
Okay. Let's go back to SPI. So again, what did SPI mean? Srila Prabhupada's instruction. So, at least as it pertains to us, a spiritual person. Now this is real. I want someone to answer. SPI, Srila Prabhupada's instruction, a spiritual person. Who is a spiritual person that we should be taking association from?
Anybody who's following Srila Prabhupada's instruction and who can get us closer to him is spiritual.
Now that is a spiritual person. Someone following in Srila Prabhupada's instruction. Now, going back to Suniti, Dhruva Maharaj's mother. She wasn't a yogi, you know, but she was Krishna conscious. She understood that if you want something, you go to Vishnu. She was true, good spiritual association for Dhruva Maharaj. And because Dhruva Maharaj took her association, he became liberated. This is the power of association. This is the power of associating with the right people. And if that's how powerful associating with the right people is, how dangerous is it to associate with the wrong people? Anyone? How dangerous is it? If associating with a spiritual person will liberate you, associating with a worldly minded person will do what?
Degrade you.
Okay, let's get some words.
Bind you.
Degrade you.
Degrade you. Pull you down. Sharing your brain today? Anyone else? Anyone else? Any more adjectives? Yes, I see a hand.
Influence you.
Influence you in which direction?
Negative.
In the wrong direction, yeah. Say that again, Prabhu? Yes.
It can derail your spiritual life.
Completely derail your spiritual life.
Take you, right back down and fall back down.
So notice, these opposites. Dhruva Maharaj was liberated by association with a spiritually minded person. And us, we can be completely dragged in the opposite direction by worldly minded persons. Yes?
Prabhu, a good example, Bali Maharaj.
Ali Maharaj.
Bali Maharaj,
Go ahead.
associated with the demons, right? And so because of his demoniac association, he got, dragged down. And so then, when the Lord came his Nirvana day, he had to bring him back up. He did it. He liberated him. But yeah, Bali Maharaj got entangled.
He was a demon.
Yeah.
He was a demon. But he was coming to
Well,
it's a good
talking about Bali
succession.
Maharaj,
Yeah.
Bali Maharaj is an interesting case.
Yeah.
So, he had
What Christian?
I don't remember his name, but one of his main attendants, his guru, that was also a demon, Sukacharya. He was taking association from this demon. But then Amadev came.
Yeah.
And when the Lord came, what happened when Bali Maharaj took the association of the Lord over this worldly minded person?
Also, Prabhu, like he had good quality, he was a Brahmana, he always gave charity.
Yeah.
So that thing, Vamana Dev knew about it, so he came to him. So that's why he overlooked his guru. So he wanted to maintain that character of...
So right now, I don't want to get into that story, because that story has a lot of nuances, there's a lot to dissect in there, but just the topic of association.
Yeah.
He took the Lord's association, good association, and yes, 1, 2, 3, but he achieved so much more. He lost everything, but then gained everything. Which again, that's a whole class in itself, we're not going to talk about that today.
I could probably pick a simpler example.
But
Like
the last one before we finish. Being greedy for mundane achievements. This goes somewhat hand in hand with over-endeavoring for mundane things. But being greedy for mundane achievements. Why is that an issue? Again, what's the topic right now? We talked about simple living, high thinking. And what do the donuts do? Complex living and?
Simple thinking.
I hear a lot of gibberish.
Lame.
So complex living, that was one. So when you partake of the donuts, complex living, and then simple thinking. It makes your life complex, and it makes you think simply. So, being greedy for mundane achievements. Let's hear from Mataji's side. Mataji's side. See, you're here now, and I'm here now, so I actually get to hear you. I'm taking advantage. So, why is being greedy for mundane achievements an issue? Complex living, simple thinking, go.
It would probably give you like a sense of pride, and that's not what we're supposed to be going for in the spiritual life. We're supposed to be humble. We're supposed to inquire submissively from spiritual masters, because we shouldn't feel like we know everything or we're that great when really we're lower than a blade of grass.
And I see when you get an achievement, what tends to happen to us?
Feel pride.
We get puffed. We get puffed up, real puffed up. And the issue with getting puffed up is you get so puffed up, you end up looking down. I believe it was Keshav Maharaj. He was quoting, I believe it was either an English or a French philosopher, on the topic of being puffed up versus being humble. And if I remember correctly, what we're trying to do with humility is, again, because when we're puffed up, we're always looking down on others. So when we bring ourselves down, all the way down, eventually we bring ourselves down to a point where you can't look down. All you can look is up to the grace of God. And that's a little topic on humility. If you're always greedy for getting the next thing, the highest thing, the bigger thing, every time you get that thing, you always look down. Oh, wow, look how high I am. Oh, wow, look how high I am. Oh, wow, I'm on top of the world. But then you can't see what's actually above you. You can't see what really matters. And that's why, on humility, we need to bring ourselves down. That's why we pay obeisance. We pay obeisance. We get all the way down so that there's nothing left for us to look but up. With that said, there's more that we could talk about. Because again, all we did today with this was talk about the donuts. We didn't even touch the Jews. But at least with the donuts, talking about the snakes and the ladders. Snakes and ladders. It's very easy to grab a snake. All of these are very easy to partake in. Gratifying the tongue, filling our pockets, getting achievements, puffing ourselves up, talking with anyone who will listen to us. All these things, very easy to do. But they're going to drag us down. These are the snakes that are going to pull us down. And who's showing us these snakes? Who shows us these ladders?
Shiksha.
Which guru?
Shiksha.
Shiksha. Now your Diksha will give you Shiksha, but Shiksha Guru. Even if you have not taken Diksha, your Shiksha Guru, your guiding Guru, your instructing Guru, you need that guidance. You can't take Diksha and then say, oh, I'm liberated. Because what often ends up happening is you take Diksha, you get initiated, and then you stop following instructions. And that's where the puffed up comes in. Because initiation, that's an achievement. But when you see it like an achievement like that, when you see it as a mundane achievement, that's when you start getting puffed up. That's when you start looking down on others. Yeah, I'm initiated. You gotta call me Prabhu now. Everybody remembers this joke. And then next you can call me Mahaprabhu. But again, Shiksha, instruction. Even after Diksha, even after we get initiated, the instruction never stops. Even Srila Prabhupada, he wasn't around his Diksha Guru that often. He didn't meet his Diksha Guru that often. He was even criticized by his godbrothers for it. Veer Krishna Maharaj was talking about this in his lecture the other day. I think you might have heard it. If you were listening, I don't know. But that his Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers were kind of chastising, giving him a hard time, like, hey, why aren't you out here with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, with a spiritual master? What are you doing? Leave your family, this and that. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he stopped those devotees. He said, hey, stop giving him such a hard time. In due time, he will fulfill everything that I've asked of him. That was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's message to Srila Prabhupada getting chastised by his godbrothers. And then, lo and behold, what happened? Everything that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur asked of Srila Prabhupada did. He traveled the world, he spread Krishna consciousness to the West, he wrote all of his books in English. Is it time? Oh, move. I took a shower before I started, so you can get closer. Space up here. Again, kind of packed back there. But yes, even if you're not right there with your Diksha Guru, the Shiksha never stops. You always need to be taking instruction. Who do we take instruction from? Who will point us in the right direction? Again, SPI. Srila Prabhupada's instruction. You need someone who's spiritual. A true Shiksha Guru for us is a spiritually minded person. Someone who is...
Following Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
What does that mean?
Regularly reading his books, preaching for Srila Prabhupada, distributing books, like working to
Following
further
his mission.
Following
The most important thing is Srila Prabhupada's mission. If you find someone that is following Srila Prabhupada's mission, who they themselves is taking Shiksha properly, and who is actually willing to guide you, you hold on and you don't let go. Someone asked Srila Prabhupada, at the time of death, I don't know if I can think of Krishna. I think I'll only think of you. Can I think of you? Is that okay? And Srila Prabhupada said, yes. Think of me, I'll take you home. Hold on to my dhoti. I'll take us home. So you find a spiritual person, you hold on, and you don't let go. Because again, climbing a ladder is very hard, it's very difficult. It's so much easier to grab the snake. Just fall back. But if you want advancement in this life, if you want liberation in this life, you need to grab that ladder. And you need to hold on tight. So with that being said, I said a lot of stuff today, a lot of different things. And I want to see if anyone took anything away. Literally just one thing. Who wants to start? You're going to start? Thank you. Thank you for raising your hand. So what's something you took away? Someone, where's the mic? Let's take my mic.
We shouldn't try to do random things that aren't going to do us any good in our spiritual
Give us an example. What's a random thing we shouldn't do?
Try for the Olympics.
Try for the Olympics? Okay, how about the Roblox Olympics? Little inside joke. Okay. Pass the mic to someone else. Thank you, probably. Yes. Something you took away today. Something that you can take with you home.
Okay.
Just one thing.
Yes, I would say that it's very important to not very first on the daily judgments of
Okay, I'm not even
teachers. Okay, so I would say that it's very important to follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada, okay, and then take this path very seriously and accept the initiation of a guru.
And where do you start before initiating with a guru?
Initiating with a guru, I would follow the instructions of the Shisha guru.
Shisha. Yes. Thank you, Pablo. That's thank you. Oh.
I remember, like when you showed us the snakes and ladders thing, like whatever we do, you can either go up or down.
Okay, give me an example. What's something that'll bring you up?
Chanting on your own.
Oh, chanting your rounds, which I know you've done at least one today. I know you're going to do at least. And what's an example that'll bring us down? What's a sneak? Oversleeping. Pass it on. You know, give it to your dad.
One thing I wrote down is hold on to the dhoti of Srila Prabhupada. He'll take us back home.
I want you to change that, probably.
Or hold on to the dhoti of the person serving Srila Prabhupada so he can take us home.
Thank you, brother.
And we pay obeisances because the only way we can look is up so that we don't look down on anybody else. That's not it.
Let's pass it on. Back this way. Don't worry, we'll get to the Mataji soon. So you guys got some time to cook.
Yeah, from one point I am taking right now that devotee association is needed right now. We should avoid the worldly minded people. That is the point. No, we need to understand who is the right person who can help me in promoting or who can help me in the advancement of my spiritual life rather than just talking to office colleagues or gossiping and example like you said promotion and other stuff, right? Just to get up to date what is going on in the office or what is going on in the others' life. I don't want to be in association of that person. I just need to be in association of devotee. Let's say just for example, if I'm lacking somewhere, that person can, there should be a person who can come and hold my hand. Hey, why are you not coming to temple? Or let's say, why you are not doing this activity? Let's go, there is an activity or then your other study is coming. Let's go to the temple. We have not seen you for a long time. So we need to get association with that kind of people.
And so who is that kind of person? Spiritual, SPI.
Spiritual people, yes.
SPI.
Yes.
So what is SPI?
Srila Prabhupada instruction.
Srila Prabhupada instruction. So a spiritual person.
That can help us, SPI.
Wait, pass it along. Right there behind you.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah.
Welcome back. It's good to see you, brother.
Yeah, it's good to see you too. Glad to be back in town. So, yeah, definitely don't waste your time associating with mundane people doing mundane activities because it's just a waste of this life. This human life is meant for spiritual advancement. So, don't put yourself in precarious positions that are going to endanger the spiritual life. And if you want to take spiritual life very seriously, you should seek instruction from the Shiksha Guru, which is something you told me last time I was here, and I did it. So now I'm getting ready.
Oh, that's amazing! Thank you, brother. Yeah. Everything's such a Shiksha.
So thank you.
Chai. Let's pass. I want to hear some more problems before we get to the Matajis. Maybe just one or two problems. To your left. He's itching to grab the mic.
So my key takeaway from that is nectar of instruction was to the sixth thing, it will pull down your devotional progress. So I feel like the point number 5 and 6 is hard to follow, but I'll try.
Okay.
Thanks.
That's. Is there anything else that you took away?
So I think this has given a clear clarity when we ourselves observe very consciously how are we from yesterday to today, our consciousness. Something could have gone wrong on all these 6 things, either overeating, overthinking. If you consciously observe, then you will find the answer. Why are we not progressing?
And see, this is the science of self-realization. The thing about any good science is measurability. Being able to measure things, measure progress. That's good. Right here in the front row. Yes, yes, yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Sorry, I joined really late today.
That's okay.
But yeah, at the end, I really liked when you said that if you go really high and high in the material things, we achieve one thing, we want to achieve another thing. And then we always start to look down on people, which is really, really bad for our spiritual growth, because you're supposed to be like Trinada Pisuniche, and so you're supposed to be humble. But then if you look down upon people, you cannot be humble, so you cannot, you can't see Krishna in everybody, because you're looking down upon everyone. So I think that's what's really important for me, to be humble in spiritual life. So.
Thank you, Prabhu. So now let's get to the Mataji side. Matajis. Oh, they already have a mic. Get 2 mics.
One thing I took away was the duty of the guru is to instruct the disciples, and it depends on the disciples to execute the guru's instructions. So if guru instructs us, we shouldn't be like, oh, I'm initiated already. There's no need to follow. You're always continuously following instructions.
I guess on that topic, we talked about the plane. You can get the ticket for the plane, but unless you get on the plane, you're not getting anywhere. And that is another factor. Our enthusiasm for actually following the process and following the instruction. Yes, Master.
I need your help to remember.
I'll try my best.
Simple, plain living, simple thinking, or high thinking. Which one is that?
Simple. A plain living.
Plain living, high thinking.
Simple living, high thinking.
Plain living,
Human
high
life,
thinking.
I'll just read it. Human life is meant for plain living and high thinking.
High thinking. Okay.
Oh, wait. But what about it? What about it?
What about it?
Yeah.
It's better to have plain living and high thinking than complex living and simple thinking.
And what's complex living for you right now?
Being
complex?
greedy,
Okay.
associating with mundane, or people who think about worldly things. Those are a few things.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Sorry, put you on the spot.
No, that's good.
But it's okay, you're on the spot next. No, don't pass it back. Hold it. You gotta say something. Just copy someone else. Everyone's. Come on. Go ahead, Mataji.
So I like one point about, first of all, I want to really appreciate your class was very, in the beginning when I came, I felt as if, will it be boring?
Sorry.
But I seriously think, sometimes I do find, I'm telling you, but it was so full of enthusiasm. And this is a class which I needed today. So you kept on pointing about money. So I just want to add one line to that. Most people think money is honey. And everything we have to leave and go. So they can keep thinking money is honey and continuing their life with money and honey, whatever. But the point is, the real truth is that we've come in the world, we're going to go. And the money that we have is also going to go. So now we have to see how much we have to give weightage to what. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Oh, someone's getting called out. Who's getting called out? Oh, the whole row. No, you gotta stay up there. Stay up there. She's next. Go ahead, Mataji.
I take away that just do put it the right way. Take her instructions and just don't take it for the achievement. Do follow it too.
See, because that's something. That's a whole other topic. Some people, yes, they're following instruction, but they're following for the clout. They're following so that they can say, I'm such a big devotee. How many books did you distribute? And that's very dangerous.
Or I already finished the Srimad Bhagavatam. I already did that, but then how much did you took it?
I read all the books. I chant 108 rounds every day.
192.
And yes, if you're doing it for the achievement of doing it, that also very dangerous.
You rather take one thing to follow it and take it in your life. That's what's most important.
Chai. Next. Yes. No.
I'm looking at her.
Sorry, I'm listening to my guru. We have to
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I would like to say that just follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions.
Haribol!
Read his books, do your japa.
Thank you, Mataji.
Smiling.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
I enjoyed the class and I learned a lot. I don't really read, but I learned all what you said, trying to retain it. I really enjoy, I like the laughing up and down, do adults.
Oh, yes, the doing the donuts. What about it? Donuts taste really good. Maybe we shouldn't have any. Oh, donuts. That's good enough. Thank you, Mataji. It's just getting passed around.
Instead of doing japa, you're just doing for japa.
Is that what you should do? Is that a do?
No,
Oh, my
that's
God.
donut.
Oh, Krishna. Prabhu, you have to criticize me now. You have to chastise me now.
So, out of 1 to 10, how was today's class?
10.
Leave on drum rolls, please. I would have given a 10.5. So, very nice. It was very nice. And I know he didn't have much time to prepare because I knew I wouldn't have my voice properly back, which I'm like talking in frog right now. I don't know how much you can understand, but he took the time while being so busy with the master me and Prabhupada and work and everything. So, well, amazing class, Bhaja Govinda, very nice, and I'm sure everyone, some of us are shy to speak, but we definitely took a lot of things, not only one, a lot of things back in our minds, way back. And this is what we do here at Bhakti House. The first line says, do not try this at home. And where do we try this? 265 on Rao. So that's how here we teach everyone the steps of what to be taken at one time. Like the last line or the fifth one says, do not associate with worldly persons, right? That's not a big danger. We all know devotees. The most danger is to associate with a devotee who's not being a devotee or supposedly being a devotee. That's the most dangerous thing. And we think, oh, I'm with the devotee right now. We're watching Netflix together or watching something. I'm with the devotee. No, that's the main danger. So like today I called Radhika Rupa for something else, and after our talk she said, when are we doing our 10-minute discussion? I said, I didn't call you for that. But this is what should be in our mind. That when are we going to our discussion? Or when is the, what did you read last time? And did you read chapter 26 of the 5th chapter? Oh my God, it's great. This is the talk we have to be talking like. Prabhupada said that, what was the discussion? Anyway, he said that, read, oh yeah, and actually in the 5th, 7 and 16, he said, the scriptural topics are so fascinating. Right? The topics of Krishna Leela and the past are so fascinating. It's not about just reading because we are supposed to read, I want to be a good boy and go to bad things and a good person. No. It is naturally fascinating. And yesterday in the Bhagavatam, Suresh Prabhu, what did you find? Is the sun moving? Right? So who did you hear this from? SPI, Srila Prabhupada's instruction. So if we have two options to, let me see, think this way. Two options. One is to practice bhakti, and number 2 is to follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions. Which should I do? Because when you follow bhakti, we don't know whose instruction we are following. I may follow my mother's instruction. Oh, this is how you do bhakti. At midnight, you go out, you take shower, you do this, that's bhakti. That's my mother's instruction. For example, I'm saying here, how she did, right? So this is how we can do. But when you follow Prabhupada's instruction, That's how it also step by step by step, and we have wonderful speakers like Bhaja Govinda, and Rupa and Manisha and everyone is here just because only past being here for so years, not longer than that. Because the steps are being followed properly. And that's what we try to encourage everyone. These are the steps. Now, the last one, what was the last? Do you remember the last one? Just read from
Ready for mundane achievements.
Right. How we save ourselves by doing those things. Or even the whole 5 things is just by bringing some regulations in our life. And what the regulations are? What are the regulations? Give me one regulation. What we are supposed to do every week.
Every week?
Yes.
Or every day? Like
Every day.
Every day.
Chanting 16
No, no, that's
No
not. That's
intoxication?
breathing. It's not stopping if you do it.
Oh, no intoxication.
No. What is supposed to
Oh,
do?
regularly reading Srila Prabhupada's books?
Yes. How long?
10 minutes at least.
10 minutes reading every day. This is how you regulate. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, I'm going to meet my friend in the world. He's going to ask me. Let that happen. But read Srila Prabhupada for 10 minutes a day. Then we do Thursday, not Thursday right now, Thursdays. I'm doing the sessions. Okay. I'm doing Sunday sessions in person, not by Zoom, in person. What else we do? Saturday Bhagavatam. Wednesday Chaitanya Charitamrita. As long as we are taking part in these things, we are okay to all do other things because it's something important that we need to do to take care of our lives. Right? As we have to take care of our lives, going to school, everything. If we are not doing any of these, which I mentioned, 5 of things, 10 minutes reading, Saturday, Wednesday reading, Sunday in person here, and also some of them are doing 1 hour service per week here, or any other day, not on Sunday, right? Those things, if we are doing, you are good. That is the regulation that we need to bring in ourselves. That is enough. Not Prabhupada 24 hours. Yes, that will happen eventually after you take this much in. If you are doing all this, others don't worry too much about it. So thank you very much. I think Gora Hari has arrived. So Gora Arti, we can start. Bishop Bhakta Prabhu, do you like to read Gora Arti? Gora Arti? Read? Yeah. Anyone else? Was you going to finish? Class finished?
I think so, Prabhu.